The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Would it really be the Jets without a little drama in June? Haason Reddick, he skipped mandatory minicamp. Aaron Rodgers, he skipped mandatory minicamp, and the national media is freaking out. Let's talk about it. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
Man, our Jets are primed for a historic season.
They don't believe that they're the same old Jets.
I am 100% not falling for them again.
I think you've got a guy that's in love with the sport of football, and it was taken away from him.
I think it's going to be a mess.
He is in a point of life where he understands the pressure.
This team is in a position to win a championship.
3 games in 11 days to start.
I think they have the best roster, arguably, in the division.
Whether you love me or hate me, we are must-watch TV. Everybody knows that.
We bleed Jets green each and every day. This is not the same old Jet. We have Aaron freaking Rodgers. We have Garrett Wilson. Let's go. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinnen Williams. The Jets bandwagon is loaded. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Here we go, Jets fans. Hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you are a Patreon member, if you are an Asmaniac here on YouTube, information about a Long Island meetup next Thursday, June the 20th in Hicksville on Long Island has been posted for you to check out. Please respond to the post if you plan on coming to our event next Thursday night. With that being said, let's talk about the latest from Jets mandatory minicamp, which began earlier today at the Jets facility. Originally, it was scheduled for 3 days. The Jets already announced it would only be 2 days. So today and tomorrow, and then summer break. And then the next time the Jets report will be for the start of training camp. And of course, there's always drama when it comes to the New York Jets. So let's listen to Robert Saleh. He was asked if Haason Reddick showed up today. And of course, it wasn't just Reddick who's not there. One other player, the quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, also not at mandatory minicamp.
No, so we've got 2 inexcused absences. One obviously being Haason. Spoke to him over the weekend. Appreciate the dialogue. He's in a really good place mentally, working his tail off like we already know, and but he's choosing to sit out this one, inexcused. The second one is Aaron. Aaron and I spoke before OTA started. He's been very good in communication. He's been here the entire time. It's inexcused, but he had an event that was very important to him, which he communicated.
Both are inexcused?
Both inexcused, yes.
So are they getting fined?
They're both subject to the CBA fine schedule.
First off, the idea of finding Aaron Rodgers, I think it's like $16,000 for the first day and $20,000 for the next day, is just objectively hilarious considering he took a $35 million pay cut last year to help the Jets with their cap situation. So that's kind of just funny. That being said, there's a lot of, I think, layers here to unpack. We'll get to the Reddick stuff because that to me is obviously a way bigger situation than Rodgers, who's been at everything to this point and was in the building yesterday for his physical and the Jets in-house media day to be worked up about Aaron Rodgers. Don't worry, though. People in the national media will try and spin this and leave out the nuance and the context that he's been at everything else. But Rodgers getting what's labeled as an inexcused absence, if you think about it, it makes sense because you can't, I don't believe, set a precedent now for other players to say, hey, I can't be there because something's important for me, right? So don't find me because you didn't find Aaron Rodgers. So I kind of understand by rule why the Jets have to label it as unexcused, but it was obviously communicated to Saleh, to Douglas, etc., months in advance, as you just heard the head coach say. So, look, ideally, obviously, Aaron Rodgers being there is a good thing, but he's been at everything else. So, I'm not going to panic on June 11th that Aaron Rodgers is missing 2 practices where they're not even wearing full pads. There's not even contact, right? So, let's not lose sight of the fact that this is ultimately with Rodgers a non-story. That won't stop those in the national media from making it a story. So my advice to every Jet fan is this: don't fall for it. When you see stuff like this from Mike Florio, don't fall for it. When you see stuff like this from Matt Miller of ESPN saying that because Rodgers is missing 2 mini camp practices in June, he's going to bet the under on the Jets win total now. Don't fall for Ed Werder saying nothing gets in the way of football, though. Once again, this will be drummed into a lot bigger of a story than it should be because it's Aaron Rodgers. Now, look, Aaron's doing this to himself, though. He is a lightning rod. It will get attention. Even if he communicated to the Jets, he's not going to be there. He's Aaron Rodgers. It's notable when the franchise quarterback, no matter which team it is not at a mandatory portion of the offseason program. Is it a big deal? Obviously not. But it will be spun like it is. So on Rodgers, my advice is don't fall for it. Do not fall for it. Here's Saleh with a follow-up question from the media on Rodgers' absence.
Bro, are you disappointed at all in Aaron making the decision not to be here?
No, it's, again, selfishly, I want all our guys here all the time. But, when you get to these mandatory things, it's, you make the best decision for yourself. And obviously, selfishly, want all of them here all the time. But he made a decision, and that's what he went with.
Was he here yesterday?
He was here yesterday. So he came through yesterday. He had his physical. He did the multimedia day or the media day and all that stuff. So he was, but like I said, he had something that was very important to him, and if it's important to him, it's important to us.
That's the right answer from the head coach, who has a job in large part because Aaron Rodgers has his back. So Saleh needs to have the franchise quarterback's back. Ideally, he's here, but I'm not going to sit here and criticize Aaron for missing something if it's truly important for him. I think the question is, what's he missing minicamp for? Is it like an ayahuasca conference or something? I mean, all the jokes write themselves when it comes to something like this. But look, not the biggest of deals, folks. It's just not. But for those wondering, once again, well, why are the Jets labeling it as, an unexcused absence if he told them a while ago he wasn't going to be here for these 2 dates? Because once again, it opens the door for other players to say, hey, this thing I have to do is important for me, and I want to go to this instead of mandatory camp. Don't find me because you didn't find Aaron. And Aaron Rodgers can obviously afford the $16,000 fine or whatever it actually is. Now, the Haason Reddick story is a way bigger deal. And let's talk about Haason Reddick missing minicamp. Matt O'Leary reported yesterday that he didn't show up to the media in-house stuff the Jets were doing. And if you saw the videos the Jets put out, they were putting on the jerseys, taking all the photos. Every team does this, of course. That was yesterday. Reddick wasn't there for that. So I think we knew, well, if he wasn't there for that, he's not going to be at mandatory minicamp today. He already turned down a $250,000 workout bonus in his current contract to show up to 80% of the voluntary stuff the Jets have already had this offseason. So once he missed that, you knew he wasn't going to be at mandatory minicamp today. Ultimately, this is a situation that I believe will get solved well before the start of the regular season. While not ideal, I'm not going to do doom and gloom on June 11th. Now, it's not ideal, though. You traded for a player and you acquired a contract dispute. It's worth noting you also got a heck of a football player who you need if you want to reach your goals this season. So before we get to the stupidity of some saying, just cut Reddick, I don't want to deal with it, let's put ourselves in his shoes. Haason Reddick is the 19th highest paid defensive end in football going into the 2024 season. Haason Reddick has outplayed his current contract. He is 29 years old. This is essentially his last chance at getting a big-time deal. Haason Reddick, right now, will turn 30 on September 22nd. So the Jets can look at Haason Reddick and say, well, ideally, we don't give him anything. He plays out the last year of his deal. We get a comp pick back for him if we don't sign him. And we basically got Haason Reddick for nothing because we'll make back the third-round pick in 2026. We traded to get him. But you got to be smart with this if you're the Jets. Is there a solution where you could give Haason Reddick an extension where you tack on a year to his current deal and give him a raise? That, to me, is the most logical solution here. This is a guy that, if you look at his production, has had 10 or more sacks, 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive seasons in a row. He looks at the offseason and watched Danielle Hunter sign a 2-year, nearly $50 million contract. Haason Reddick has the same, if not better, production. So you understand why Reddick wants more money. The question is, are the Jets prepared to give him more money? I think Joe Douglas is not a dummy, so I'm going to choose until this reaches a point where he's not there and we're getting set for week 1, where I think this is just business and it will take time and they will work out either some sort of extension or a pay raise for this year. And maybe they put in his contract that the Jets can't franchise tag him after the season so he can hit unrestricted free agency and truly find his market value. Tom Brady's last year in New England, he had a contract dispute. He put that clause in his deal so he could be an unrestricted free agent and leave New England. So there's ways for the Jets to figure out this situation. There are ways for them to do it. I'm going to choose to put my faith in Joe Douglas is not an idiot and that he made this deal and understood it was likely going to take some sort of raise or extension for Reddick. I choose to feel this way because him and Howie Roseman, the Eagles general manager, are very good friends, and Douglas worked for him. So obviously the Jets knew when they acquired Haason, he wanted a new deal. That's why the Eagles moved off of him in the first place. They're paying all their star players there, which is something the Jets are going to have to deal with beginning next year. To me, the solution with Reddick is a 2-year extension and match up his money with the Rodgers window you currently have. That way, when he then comes off your books, you're then ready to pay Jermaine Johnson, or the contract you already gave Jermaine at that point maybe kicks in. Because remember, when you sign someone to a multi-year extension, you can finagle the cap where it's lower the first couple of years to then kind of spread it out to match up with some of your other expiring contracts. You have more cap space. So it's now a story because he is not here at mandatory minicamp. But I don't think it is a story that's worth getting panicked about on June 11th. If it's August 15th and he's still not at Jets camp, then yeah, it becomes a story. Would he hold out? Or does he show up right before the season starts so he could get his money? And then because he's not in football shape, he then is a healthy and active the first couple of weeks. Would he really do that? Because he's going to be fined up a gazoo. And the new CBA makes it very difficult to hold out now. Here's Robert Saleh being asked a question from the beat if he's concerned with Haason Reddick potentially missing regular season games.
I'm not concerned. I understand that there's I understand everything that's happening, but at the same time, I know when it comes time to play football, like I said before, he's going to be ready to play football.
And I tend to still agree, despite the optics not being great. But this is not a unique situation to the Jets. There are plenty of star players around the league who are holding out. Brandon Ayuk, T. Higgins, just to name two. At the end of the day, though, watch the Aaron Rodgers story be made a way bigger deal nationally because it's Rodgers than this Haason Reddick thing. Like, it took 5 minutes for Mike Florio, Ed Werder, Matt Miller, etc., to fire off these tweets. Like, they couldn't wait to find some sort of drama with the Jets. Because if you think about it, this has really kind of been a drama-free offseason for the Jets. As far as the football goes, they've made good signings. They've made smart trades. We don't know about the draft picks just yet because it's a crapshoot, as we all understand, but there was logic to each one. As far as the football drama, there really hasn't been any until Haason Reddick. But you just knew the second they found out that Aaron Rodgers wasn't at something, without applying any nuance or context, that he had been at everything else and he had told the Jets a while ago he wasn't going to be able to make these dates for something that was important for him. You knew they would run with this story and make it a way bigger deal than it actually is. Reddick is a real story because he's a player you acquired to replace a very good player you had in-house that you let walk in Bryce Huff. Rodgers is not a story, considering he had been at everything the entire offseason. But once again, the Jets can't make Rodgers' absence excusable because it opens the door for other players to say, hey, you didn't fine Aaron for missing this mandatory event. Don't fine me. So I get that aspect. Some other things to address here from Salah's comments this morning. Salah said AVT and Morgan Moses are both expected to be ready by training camp. Mike Williams will be on the same type of schedule Breece Hall was on last year, but should be ready for the regular season. That is the first time that Robert Saleh has acknowledged their plan is for Mike Williams to be ready for the start of the regular season, which is something, if you've been watching the show the last couple months, I have said internally that has always been the goal. Mike Williams got hurt at the end of September last year. He would have suffered a setback if he was not ready for week 1. So positive stuff there. Obviously, you're not concerned about AVT or Morgan Moses, both coming off their injuries. Have them ready for training camp when it matters. Mike Williams on the Breece timeline, great. Let's hope he could have a timeline in the regular season that Breece had. Because you knew from the first play from scrimmage for the Jets this year that Breece Hall was an alien and he was going to have a special season. That first carry against the Bills, I still get the chills with how loud the crowd was. So I hope Mike Williams could have that kind of moment week 1 as well. But I'm sure there's going to be some terrible takes on this Rodgers stuff, so be ready for it. I'm sure we'll be updating the Shadow Realm throughout the week. But if you're sitting here and you are somehow worried about Rodgers missing 2 practices in June despite telling the Jets months ago he was doing this, I don't know what to tell you. The Reddick stuff is a story, but ultimately, he is not missing regular season games when it matters. I just don't buy it. Is it ideal? No. I mean, you want him signed. But if you believe in Joe Douglas, like so many of you tell me you do, then you have to think that they will work out something when it actually matters to work it out. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Appreciate everyone tuned in today. Today's Jake Asman Show is presented by my friends at Liquid IV. Stay hydrated with Liquid IV and their awesome flavors to choose from. Use promo code Jake Asman at checkout and you will get 20% off your first purchase. Once again, Liquid IV. You pour the pouch in your glass of water, your water bottle, your cup, and it will help you stay hydrated. 1 Liquid IV pouch in your water bottle is like drinking 3 water bottles. So if you go out and about, if you're someone who likes to work out or go out to the bar and have a bunch of alcohol and you deal with the hangover the next day, I can't recommend Liquid IV enough. Promo code Jake Asman. Go to liquidiv.com. All the information is in the description for this video. Let's take some of your calls, get to your super chats now as we react to the story of the day. Haason Reddick, not at mandatory minicamp, and neither is Aaron Rodgers. Omari with a super chat. He starts us off. Jake, call Reddick and tell him to attend or RN. Yeah, let me just call up Haason and say, hey, man, show up to minicamp. Third Man 3 with a super chat. Aaron doing a doc about his rehab/comeback. I remember the beat saying he had cameras following him around midseason. What happened with that? I had not heard anything on that. I did hear Brian Costello. I believe he was the first reporter that made note of that. So I don't know if that's still in the works or I don't know. I haven't heard anything. Matthew Smith writes in, I've heard more about Haason Reddick than Higgins or CD not being with their teams. Insane. Well, you're about to hear way more about Rodgers because I'm sure, the Colin Cowherds, the Nick Wrights. You already had the tweet from Florio. They'll try and turn this into something I just don't think it is. Once again, I'll say this. Aaron makes it a story because it's him. But I'm not going to be upset when he communicated this to the Jets months ago and he had been at everything else. To me, it's a story if he wasn't here today and he missed everything else. Then it's a huge story, obviously. That's not what happened here, though. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Jet fans, your thoughts on the Reddick situation. Jet fans, your thoughts on the Rodgers situation as well. Sean says, Jets usually have a media circus around them. You just knew, even though I still don't think either one of these stories, big picture, matters, especially the Rodgers story. It's a nothing burger. You just knew there was something that was going to happen football-wise, right? Like there had just been too many things going on this offseason that have been going too well for the Jets from a football standpoint, that we were due for some sort of holdout or contract dispute. Like, you just knew. You knew that was coming. Nick writes in, only part that doesn't make sense, if Saleh knew Rodgers would miss a while ago, why didn't he just make it known rather than wait till today, knowing it would develop into a negative storyline? So I've wrestled this in my head a couple different ways, Nick, because I think it's a fair point. If he informs everyone weeks ago, doesn't it become a big story that day? And then again today, the media reiterates, Aaron Rodgers not here for an event he felt was important. Is that better than just what they chose to do today, announcing when everyone's expecting Reddick to be the only one not there? Oh, Aaron's also not here. Is that better? I don't know. Is the double whammy better from a PR standpoint than just announcing it all today and then it will get buried with everything else going on around the NFL this week with teams having minicamp? I don't know. Honestly, the Rodgers absence will push down the Reddick absence. If you think about it. So we will see. Derek writes in, at what point does this become an actual problem with Reddick price-wise? I think it becomes an actual problem if they don't have any deal done and training camp's here, he's not there, and we're a week into camp, he's still not there. Then it starts to escalate. I don't think we're there yet. I don't think it gets to that point either. Luppy says Reddick doesn't seem like a character fit for the team. I disagree with that. Business is business. The guy is the 19th highest paid defensive end in the league. Haason Reddick last year had 11 sacks, 16 the year prior, 11 the year prior to that, 12 and a half the year prior to that. Look at some of the money that has gone to edge rushers this offseason. He wants a raise. I don't think it's because he's not a character fit. Was Darrelle Revis not a character fit when he wanted raises too from the Jets? Guess what? He was worth it. That to me should be brought up. This is not the first athlete to want a raise and won't be the last either. Let's get to some of your calls. First up on the Gusbuster hotline is Gary today. Gary, what's going on?
Nothing good, Jake. Nothing good. First, the Rodgers thing. Look, it's Rodgers. Here's what I'll say. It's not a big deal that Rodgers isn't here. But honestly, would Kobe Bryant or LeBron James be at minicamp? They would be, right? Like, it's not the end of the world, but this is why people are annoyed by him. Why isn't he there?
I mean, if you listen to the head coach, he said that he had an event that was very important to him.
That could be anything. An event that's very important. Okay.
Did Tom Brady go to mandatory minicamp his last 3 years in New England?
I don't know. I'm guessing no by the way you phrased the question.
The answer is no, exactly.
Okay.
It's not talked about. It's Rodgers, so it's talked about. To your point, Rodgers is making it a story because it's him. He's a lightning rod. But So, like, from that standpoint, I'm not going to sit here and say, how could the media talk about this? Because you know the media is going to talk about this. But I'm just saying, like, I don't really care at all that he's not there from a big picture perspective because he's been at everything else until today.
No, I agree. Again, the narrative that he's a bad teammate isn't true, and I get all that. I would just rather him be there. You know, it's like it's not the end of the world. It's
no,
not
me
a big
too.
deal.
Me too. I you know, it creates an unnecessary topic of discussion. You know,
the other thing, Reddick, this is a big deal. And like 27 and 56, Joey strikes again. Did he really trade for a guy that's going to hold out? Like, he's the 19th highest paid DN. You said 19th,
according to Nick Faria. Yeah.
They may not even be close. Like, I mean, is he expected to be paid like a top 3 or 4 DN? Like, he deserves it. Are the Jets willing to do that? We may not even be close here. This could be a major problem. Like, Darrelle Revis was in a year where there was no salary cap. So now it's just like, okay.
What do you mean? He played in a salary cap era.
But in 2010, there was no salary cap.
I don't remember that, but there was always going to be a cap again, so like they couldn't just give him a blank check.
We can figure it out. We put a Band-Aid on it this year, and we'll figure it out next year, kind of thing. Like, because that was an all-in year. Like, this is an all-in year.
But they gave him a new deal. They didn't just give him like a raise for 1 year. They ripped up his current contract and gave him a brand new one.
Is that what? And it took a minute. Is that is that what we're doing here? Like,
I don't think it gets. See, like Revis, there was legit concern he might miss the regular season because remember he didn't show up until about a week before the Monday night game against the Ravens that year. I don't think it approaches that with Haason Reddick.
So I asked, Matt O'Leary and you the other day, 2 weeks from now, this is not going to be an issue. We're standing on that. 2 weeks from now, this is going to be figured out. He's going to be in the preseason. We're going to have this figured out by the middle of the summer. It's not going to be an issue.
I mean, why arbitrarily 2 weeks from now? Training camp doesn't start till the end of July.
Okay, by end of July, is this going to be figured out?
I personally think that by the end of July, he has either a raise or a new deal. They work something out. That's my feeling on it.
He's there at the end of July. He's at training camp. Yeah.
Yeah, with either a raise or a new contract. That's been my feeling the whole time.
Okay, as long as that's the case, it's just hard for me to trade for a guy when you may be millions and millions of dollars apart in what you're expecting, right? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, well, that's why I choose to think Douglas is not a dummy, and he understood that at some point there was going to be some sort of negotiation that needed to happen here.
Okay, and I choose to believe that he is a dummy. I wouldn't hire him to greet people at Walmart, but that's me, right?
But so you're also the same guy who said that this is the Jets' most talented team that they've had since 1998, and he's the GM that put that team together. So you talk out of both sides of your mouth fairly often.
Those guys are here because of Aaron Rodgers. Like,
no, they're not.
Mike Williams would not be here.
Breece Hall is here because of Rodgers. Williams is here because of Rodgers. Quincy Williams is here because of Rodgers. I mean, how many guys are here because of Aaron Rodgers? You want to say the guys on 1 year deals? The best players on the team are the guys that he drafted and developed.
Right, and he drafted him early with high picks, which, I mean, okay, yeah. And credit to him, he picked the right guys, but it's not like he did some. Well, Breece Hall was a really good draft pick. That was really, really good. But the other picks were kind of fairly obvious, and even if you went with someone else, you were still going to get a good player. Now, he went with the right player, so I give him full credit. But none of that was, like, genius. Like, Garrett Wilson, yeah, we knew he was going to be good. Sauce Gardner, we knew he was going to be pretty good. Like, and if he would have taken Thibodeau instead, like, you still get a really good player. So when you're drafting 3 and 10, yeah, you're going to get a good player. Now, Breece Hall, well done. Great pick. That was an awesome pick. But there's a reason why he's 27 and 56 because he hasn't put a winning team together. Like, that's the reason why he's put together. That's the reason why he's 27 and 56.
Well, the reason is he has missed on quarterback. And last year he had a Hall of Fame quarterback he acquired because of the team he put together was attractive to that Hall of Fame quarterback. He lasted 4 plays. I can't do the Douglas today with you, Gary. We talk in circles. You don't take the L. My feeling on Reddick is I do think at some point by the end of July he gets some sort of new deal or raise.
Well, it's not a matter of taking an L because you hire a GM to put together a winning team, and he hasn't done that. He's put together the worst team in football over the last 5 years. So, I mean, why would I take an L when he's 27 and 56?
Well, because Well, because you don't add any context to it or any nuance. You factored into that record is the fact that Aaron Rodgers got hurt on the 4th play of the season last year. Factored into that record is you can't win without a quarterback, and Zach Wilson's been the biggest detriment to this franchise.
And he drafted Zach Wilson, and
right.
They put no other quarterbacks in the quarterback room with them.
Correct.
Mike White in the quarterback room with them. Neither one of them had taken an NFL snap or a major snap of college football, and that was your quarterback room.
Correct. He deserves criticism for the Zach Wilson pick, and he deserves an enormous amount of criticism for not having a legitimate backup last year. And that still being said, you're trying to nitpick the reason why he still has a job to this point, and it's because he has put together a great roster, a roster that you are on the record saying is the most talented roster that the New York Jets have had since they went 12-4 in 1998.
Let me ask you this question, just slightly related but slightly off topic. Is Sean Marks a good GM?
Joe Douglas should have been fired 2 days before he was hired.
I can't do it, Gary. I can't do it. We've had this debate many times. So instead of actually arguing with you, I'm just going to play that. Because I can't do it, man. You talk out of both sides of your mouth when it comes to Douglas. He is not perfect, but obviously he has put together a hell of a team. So here's what I'm going to do. Rather than argue the same argument we had last month, again this month, I'm simply going to play this. What about your take yesterday that the Jets have it's the most talented roster they've had since 98?
I agree with that.
Right.
I said that. Yeah.
But why is Douglas such a bad GM then?
Because he's 27 and 56. Joe, that's who you're referring to?
Right, but how could he be so bad at his job if they have the most talented roster since the last time they won 12 games in a season?
Because they got Aaron Rodgers to come here, just like Cleveland got LeBron James to go there. That's not great GMing, right? Like you get a guy at that level to agree to come here. That's pretty obvious, right?
No, that actually is the very definition of good GMing because Rodgers picked the Jets because he thought he could win here.
I mean, that must have been amazing. To be able to tell that guy, Aaron Rodgers, was going to be good. I mean, that's amazing.
Gary,
it's not like he's got 4 MVPs or anything.
Gary, no one's saying Joe Douglas created Aaron Rodgers and made him what he is. He built the team that Rodgers wanted to play for. That's what we're saying.
And the Jets had the cap space to go get him.
No,
and the willingness to go trade the picks to go get him.
Okay,
I understand how he got here. I get it.
Yeah, but you're glossing over the fact. Yeah, you're glossing over the fact that if the Jets did not have a good team, he would have went somewhere else. You conveniently leave that out.
Frustrating about Jet fans. 27 and 56.
You're going to say the record over and over again. It's not good enough, Gary. The record was not good enough this past year. Unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers got hurt on play 4. They would not have went 7 and 10 if he was healthy. That's the point. Last year was supposed to be the make the playoffs or fire people year. Unfortunately,
every year's supposed to be
no, it's not. Not in 2021, coming off a 2-14 season when you had a first-year head coach, a first-year quarterback, and a first-time play caller. It was a rebuilding year. That's what happened.
Did Cam Newton make the playoffs in his first year?
Gary,
did
stop.
CJ Stroud make the playoffs in his first year?
CJ Stroud
did Andy Dalton make the playoffs in his first year?
What?
This is not that hard to make the playoffs. It's such a
goodbye. You're a fool, Gary. I cannot take your stupidity. Shut up. You're wrong. Had Bryce Young do, Gary. Had Trevor Lawrence do year 1. Oh, my God. Most rookies don't make the playoffs in year 1. Not with a first-year head coach and a first-time play caller. The Texans situation is not even comparable. C.J. Stroud had the greatest rookie season a quarterback has ever had. You are wrong. Stop saying facts that aren't facts, but because you say it loud and like, oh, the record, oh, I'm Gary. You're wrong, dude. You are wrong. No, the expectation every year is to not make the playoffs in the NFL. You really think year 1 with Saleh, the expectation was to make the playoffs? Really? They were coming off a 2-14 season where they had the worst point differential in franchise history. And you wanted the Jets off 2-14 with Gase, with year 1 of Saleh, year 1 of Zach Wilson, year 1 of Mike LaFleur to make the playoffs. That is asinine. Douglas has a job because Rodgers got hurt on play 4. That's why he has a job. That's it. If he didn't get hurt and they went 7 and 10 last year, he wouldn't be the GM. The record's not good enough, but there's context to it that you ignore every goddamn time. So I'm sick of it. Stop. There's context to it. Stop saying the record. We know it's not good enough. You know what also is not good enough? Not understanding how to actually apply nuance to a conversation. God, I can't do it anymore, man. I cannot do it anymore. It's the same crap every day. I don't need to argue with Gary. We had the same argument a month ago. So there you go, people. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Man. Curly writes in, Jet fans accept losing. They didn't win, but no one's celebrating 7 wins, but Curly, they can't win in June. No one is accepting losing. We're simply telling you this is a make or break season, Curly. Why can't you accept that? You just want to be negative every day of the year. I got news for you. They've had a very good offseason. We can't be impressed by that. We can't be optimistic about that. They have a Hall of Fame quarterback who is quarterbacking them this year. We can't be excited about that. They have a legitimate backup if, God forbid, there is a conventional quarterback injury to that Hall of Fame quarterback. We can't be excited about that. No one's accepting losing. But the idea that they were better off just firing everyone like you want to do, and that's always the answer, just fire this guy. Jet fans accepting losing. No. How about we just be smarter fans and realize they went 7-10 with the worst quarterback room of all time last year? That they actually could be a much better team this year because they have Rodgers back and Tyrod Taylor backing them up. Isn't that the point? No one's accepting losing. I'd be the first to tell you last year was a joke and it was a nightmare. But I'm also not going to sit here and pretend like there's not context as to why they only won 7 games. I don't know if you remember this, Curly, but the guy they spent all offseason building the team around got hurt on the first drive of the season. No one's accepting losing around here. You shouldn't accept losing. I'm the first one telling you there should be changes to the GM and the coach if they don't make the playoffs this year. Who's accepting losing? How about we apply context to things? But you come from the school of Gary, Curly, so unfortunately, I got to do it to you. Sorry. Just has to be done. Enjoy Stupid Town.
I mean, Black Bowers is definitely like the greatest player in the history.
Comments, questions, super chats will cut the line. Hit the like button. If you're tuned in live right now, you never know when someone might make it rain with memberships like what we have right here from one of our hardcore longtime listeners.
Money, 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 money.
Armani AD making it rain for the people. If you hear your name called, you are officially in As Maniac. Jet Fan 911, Jose Sanchez, Samuel McDermott, Joey Jets, Al McCloud. Congratulations. You guys are all channel members. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Info about a Long Island meetup was posted exclusively for channel members on YouTube this morning. That's next Thursday. So if you're not an Asmaniac yet, sign up. Be a part of it. Comments, questions, super chats, more of your calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we go to Neil on the line. Hello, Neil.
Holy shit. That's all I got to say. Here comes the general manager chat. We should have a separate chat for general managers and media types like Alan, Gary. I'm sure JJ's going to chime in and talk about Douglas. And then somebody's going to talk about Salah. Let me explain to this fan base one thing. I have been through 20 of the absolute worst general managers since I've been watching this team in 1968. And I've been through a shit ton of horrible coaches. We used to have a guy by the name of Joe Walton before any of you guys were born. Okay? We used to mock Joe Walton because every time the camera went to him on the sideline, you know where what it looked like? I'll show you. This is what he used to do. Every time the camera went to him, he's picking his nose. Okay? We have a competent, very good, very professional general manager and staff. We have very professional players. You don't just magically wave a wand and have the best players. You don't magically wave a wand and everybody signs and everybody's wonderful and everybody shows up. A 40-year-old quarterback. I guarantee you, I think I know where Rodgers is. He has a golf charity in Wisconsin that I tried to go to try to get on the golf course and harass him and chase him around the cart, with my cart. because it's he goes every single year, and I'm sure it's today. So he's not going. He's going to go play golf, and I don't really think he needs to get on the field and throw more passes and miss one OTA in June. We're not even in training camp yet. Okay, Reddick is going to get either signed or he's going to be on the field. Everybody's got to take a chill. I'm tired of hearing about everybody's record. All I know is when they took this team over, okay, it was the worst garbage that ever went on a field. We would not beat 3 or 4 of the best college teams on the year that Saleh took over for Gase. Not even college teams, Jake. Am I wrong with that?
Well, I think the best example is just to look at the Texans, right? Nick Caserio got there, inherited a mess. His turnaround of that team, it took 3 seasons because by the time he got to year 3, he drafted C.J. Stroud, and look what happened. That was supposed to be the Jets last year with year 3 of Saleh and Douglas together. Unfortunately, Aaron got hurt on the opening drive. Like, at the end of the day, you still need a quarterback, and they got their mulligan. This is the year to win. Otherwise, for everyone who thinks the GM's bad, the coach is bad, great. You'll end up being right. You could celebrate us all being miserable, and they'll make changes. But I don't think that's going to happen because I think they got a good team, and they're going to be a playoff team this year.
Let me summarize. If I turn the clock back 3 years, and I said to you on this show that we would have, in 3 years from now, Aaron Rodgers being our quarterback, Mike Williams being our wide receiver, we would have a legitimate number 1 receiver, one of the best running backs in the game, and a top 5 defense. If I said that to you, you would refer me to the nearest psychiatrist because I need to have my head examined. And that's exactly what we have right now. So everybody take a goddamn chill pill and enjoy what's about to happen in 2024. 17-0. That's all I got to say. Out.
Neil, excellent job out of you.
I can't believe you cut me off, Jake.
Blast off. Yeah. From Neil to this guy, here we go.
It's time for another V-Man call. Hopefully he no sleeping. Adios mio.
Oh, God. V-Man with the dog. Linus.
That's Lucy.
Lucy.
What's up, Jake?
What's up, V-Man? How are you?
Honestly, like I said, the Rodgers stuff doesn't bother me because he's just, like I said, it was pre-planned that he was not going to show up, so it's not a big deal. He messaged them well in advance. He's not going to be here. The Reddick stuff, yeah, it's a bit annoying. It's a bit annoying that it's not going to. It's a bit annoying that it's not going to. He's not going to be here, but I trust the GM to fix this situation and resolve it. Like I trust him to get this done. It's not he's not a fool. He didn't trade for a guy without understanding that this was a possibility of happening. So he obviously is been trying to work this out probably for some time. It's just that it hasn't gotten there yet. But I have faith that it will get done within the near future.
I agree, and I think at the end of the day, Douglas doesn't acquire Reddick if he wasn't aware that something like this could potentially happen. I think they'll give him a raise. I think they probably want to get him a raise at their price, and they're willing to drag this out until it actually matters whether he's there or not. So I think this is something that hopefully is done before training camp. But even if it's a week or two into training camp, you're not worried about Haason Reddick being ready and being a good football player.
I'm not worried that one bit.
Maybe we'll let you get back to your dog kissing your face.
All right, talk to you later.
That's the end of that V-Man call. Now he can go back to sleeping.
Ladies and gentlemen, the channel memberships are flying off the shelves. Luppy making it rain. 5, count it, 5 channel memberships.
Money, 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 money.
If you hear your name called, you're officially an Asmaniac. Margaret Lankry, Steven Spragus, Nicktra 4171, MPC.E. You are all as maniacs. Welcome, welcome, welcome. More of your calls right now. Let's go to Nick, who joins us. What's up, Nick?
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
You tell me.
Am I the only one who doesn't give a shit about Reddick? Like, it's 90 days until the opening day. He's an edge rusher. He doesn't have to work with timing with the quarterback or as a quarterback with the wide receivers. He's a professional. He's a proven veteran. Calm the fuck down, people. Calm down. It's 90 days ago. Free agency didn't even start. We didn't even have Tyron Smith or anyone yet. So it's 90 days. Plenty can happen. Let's stop overreacting about him out there in shorts if he's not there. There's no way Joe Douglas acquires this guy without knowing, hey, I want some guaranteed money. Let's work something out. Okay, it's going to happen. We're not going to go into September.
It's business. Like he's not the only star player around the league not with their team right now.
It's part of the game. It's part of the game. The guy's 30 years old. Wants that guaranteed money, doesn't want to show up, doesn't want to have something happen to him. I get that. It's part of the game. He's not going to be missing games. It will get worked out. They're not going to go into this season with an all-in season and say, no, we're not going to pay a guy that we traded for. It's not happening. So everybody back away from the goddamn cliff, or if you're that nuts, go ahead and jump. Then we don't have to hear from you anymore. We don't have to hear those horrible takes. But it's 90 days. It's maddening to me, man. It really is to see everybody just looking to start their own fire every day to just try to burn the Jets down. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, the first reaction from many in the fan base is, oh, why us? Doom and gloom. And it's like, relax, man. Like the sins of the Jet history doesn't always apply to the current regime that I think deserves some benefit of the doubt. Like if all the Jet fans swear by Joe Douglas, now all of a sudden he's bad, he's screwed up. Oh, how could he make this deal? Or maybe he has a plan and this will get worked out, because there's so many of you Jet fans who push back on my idea when I say that no, him and Salah should be attached at the hip and Douglas doesn't get to escape another failed year. Like, you know what I mean? Like which is it? If you believe in Joe Douglas, this will get worked out.
Give me August 26th. That's 2 weeks before the game. That gives him time to get there. That gives him time to get acclimated to everything and get amped up for opening day. He's going to be in shape. It's not like he's not going to be in shape.
There's a difference, though, in football shape. Yeah, but there's a difference in, like, football shape and, like, working out on your arm. I don't think it even gets to that point. I hope this is done when they open training camp, like Quinnen's contract extension was done.
Yeah, you give me mid-August, that's when I'll start to hit, like, the concern button. But I'm not doing that in June. There's no way. There's bigger things going on.
I love it. Nick, excellent call.
Thanks, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Nick Shine. Check out his channel for rational takes about the Jets. Just to show you how overrated minicamp is, this was an actual headline in 2014 when Rex was still the head coach. Let's put this up on the screen here for people to see. It's loading. New York Jets wide receiver Eric Decker skips OTA session with Rex Ryan's okay to help wife Jesse James present at CMT award show. Let's calm down. The best was the year after that, or 2 years after that. You had a bunch of Jet players skip minicamp in support of Ryan Fitzpatrick getting a new deal from the Jets. They skipped in solidarity of Fitz. All right. So let's maybe take a breath here, I would say, which is not always easy for Jet fans, which I get because I'm one of you. Hit the like button if you're tuned in right now. Super chat from Bruce Maine. School of Gary worships at the Church of Beningo. No nuance. Complete reactionary. I think Joe B has more nuance than Gary a lot of times. Adam S. with a super chat. Would love to see King Lowski and Allen on screen together. I think King would destroy him. That'd be an unfair fight. Bang Mateo says, Salah never talking to Reddick is still concerning. Ladies and gentlemen, Bang Mateo proven to not have functioning earlobes.
No, so we've got two inexcused absences.
Actually, I think I proved I'm a moron. I think eardrums is what I meant. Anyway, here we go.
No, so we've got two inexcused absences. One obviously being Haason. Spoke to him over the weekend. Appreciate the dialogue. He's in a really good place mentally, working his tail off like we already know, and but he's choosing to sit out this one, inexcused. The second one is Aaron.
Wait, Bang. Did I just hear the head coach say that he spoke with Haason Reddick over the weekend? One more time, if you're hard of hearing.
No, so we've got 2 inexcused absences. One obviously being Haason. Spoke to him over the weekend. Appreciate the dialogue.
It's almost like the head coach checked in with his star player. Pound for pound kicks just made my first purchase from Copper Johns. Let's go. Bang! Bang! Love that. Shout out to Copper Johns. Promo code Jake20, copperjohnsbeard.com. Shout out to you, pound for pound. Comments, questions, super chats will cut the line, ladies and gentlemen. For his take on all things New York Jets, we bring on an absolute legend.
Well, you know, I have my own YouTube show. If I'm awake, I'm going live. Unless Jake has a show, I'm Bobby.
Hey, Jake, how you doing?
Hey, Bobby.
I think everybody should relax because, you know, Aaron Rodgers don't need an excuse because he already gave up $35 million. So give him the guy a break, right? Give him a break.
Yeah, it's a non-story. It will be made a story nationally because it's Rodgers, it's the Jets. It's an opportunity for the LOL Jets stuff to come out, but
he does
I'm
this
not
every
worried.
year. Neil said he does this every year, so give him a break. He's doing charity work.
We don't know that. Neil was just throwing that out there. I don't know what's
And I remember Joe Walton on the sideline picking his nose. Yep, I remember that. He was digging for some gold to help him out to win the season finally. Where can I find that gold? It's somewhere up my nose. He was nasty. I remember. Your dad might remember him too. Picking his nose on the sideline. Yeah, and then this other guy, Reddick. He's got Neil said, not Neil. Nick said, yeah, don't worry about it. He'd be in. It's like 90 days away. Don't panic. It's not worth it. When it gets to the late, mid-August, worry. That's when I would worry. I have to agree with that. And the Yankees won yesterday.
They did.
Yep, they came back. And we had another call on my show yesterday. It was really crazy.
Well, they never trailed. They were winning the whole game.
Right, they won. Yeah. So
Correct.
This guy called up my show last night. I don't know who it was.
Who was it?
I don't know.
What did they say?
It wasn't you, so don't worry about it. It wasn't you.
No, I never call your show fake as a fake prankster.
Yes, you did. We figured that out yesterday. I got pranked by you. So
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but look at that smile on his face. You got to smile with that nose. All right, so you got to be on with Sable today?
Yep.
3 o'clock, I bet.
Maybe.
4 o'clock. Okay, I'll see you later.
You'll have to find out, Bob.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be square.
When's your next show?
I don't know, mate. I went 5 hours last night, Jake.
Really?
5 hours.
I'm worried you're burning yourself out, Bob.
I don't know. Maybe I'll take a break in the afternoon.
All right.
To take a break. Like McDonald's, you need a break sometimes, too.
Yep. Go get yourself a Happy Meal.
Yeah, no. I got to stay away from McDonald's.
All right.
Okay, we'll talk to you later.
You got it.
Well, you know, I love the Yankees and the Jets, and to read the super chats are more than just a hat. Bobby.
It's the fastest growing show in sports, folks. The Bobby Midnight Program. Plumpy Boy with a super chat. Haason is elite without a minicamp. Holdout is tried and true negotiation tactic. We'll see it every year. Nothing to worry about. Pay this man. I mean, this is not a unique situation to the Jets. It might feel that way because some of you only follow the Jets closely, but this is happening across the league. You know? That's just how this goes. At the end of the day, do I think this plays out well before the year? Absolutely. Leger Duzable had this tweet. I'll read it to you. The Reddick and Jet situation could get real interesting. Jets literally do hold the leverage because Reddick is under contract. But as players, when you feel you're deserving of a new deal, the only leverage you have is to hold out. Will be interesting to see how this plays out. I think it plays out with him getting a raise. And maybe they make a deal in his contract where they can't put the tag on him. Jordan, next up on our show on the Gus Buster Umbrella Hotline. What's up, Jordan?
This take of yours, Jake, I disagree with. I think if they wanted to pay a pass rusher, they would have paid the younger guy in Bryce Huff. He had upcoming. I think with Reddick, they got him as a 1-year rental, and then after that, they're going to let him go. I think I think with the deal, I think if he plays less than 67.5% of the snaps, it's a 3rd-round pick instead of a 2nd. So I think they're planning on that anyways. So I think they're just going to wait it out, and when he reports, and if he reports week 1, he might have to miss week 1 or 2, which is obviously very much not ideal. But I think if they were planning on paying a pass rusher, we would have Huff on the team, and there's too many guys we have to pay that come above Reddick. I think Reddick is going to be gone at the end of the year. In all honesty, I think we have to pay. We have to pay Sauce. We have to pay Wilson. We have to pay ABT. We have to pay Michael Carter. All these contracts are coming up, and I'd rather keep the young players over, a 30-year-old pass rusher. So I think the Jets are just going to wait him out, and whenever he reports, and at the end of the year, Reddick's going to be gone and off the team.
See, my pushback would be, 1, he's a better player than Huff, and 2, he would get a raise, or then they would make it where he can't be franchise tag, let's say, at the end of the year. Like, they will rework his contract in some capacity. I don't think this just ends with he just shows up and plays on his current deal. I think the Chris Jones situation in Kansas City is something to look at as a comp for something like this. What happened last year, where eventually they redid his deal, they made it where he couldn't be tagged again, and then he eventually got a long-term deal.
We'll have to wait and see, but I think JD's playing the long game with this, which is actually good. I think, he's prioritizing the young upcoming players, and he doesn't want to put all that money aside for Reddick. And I think if he had the money, I think Huff had, more upside than Reddick. Reddick's 30. I mean, he's elite, and he has been elite, but, he's nearing, the older you get, father time always catches up. He's nearing the end of his career. I don't know. To me, I think I would rather have the homegrown guy, and pay him if we had the money. I think, to me, we have the money this year. Reddick's a 1-year rental, and I don't know. I just don't agree with your take that Reddick's going to get a new deal.
Well, I mean, define a new deal. Like, I'm not saying he's getting the Von Miller contract. I think they could give him a year extension and a raise. I think that's certainly in the cards here.
I mean, even with a raise, though, then that limits us this year of getting, there's still people I want to bring in, like who? McGovern and, some people. And if he gets a raise this year and it just goes to this year's cap, it still hampers the team. I think
really,
the
though.
Jets are just going to play it out, which is not ideal. But, whenever he shows, and, I mean, maybe they can do something with, not franchise tagging him or something where it doesn't affect the cap, but I don't think he's going to get a raise or anything.
Well, why wouldn't he get a raise though? Incentives to give himself a chance to make more money. That's kind of how this typically goes when a player wants something. So then the agent could try and get him incentives to get paid more. And I wouldn't rule out another year extension. You're talking about all these guys they have to pay. You do realize the 2022 rookie class is under contract for 2 more years plus the franchise tag. They don't have to pay them instantly. Josh Allen got paid a couple of years ago. This is the first year his cap hit is monstrous. It takes time.
Yeah, but I mean, some people are actually like AVT. I want to keep long term. I know we have the 5th-year option with him. But Michael Carter's coming up. If we want to, I think DJ Reed's also going to walk. I think as these young players get older, I want to keep the homegrown talent, and these veteran players, unfortunately, are going to be the cost of that. And, that's just my opinion.
Look like. Yeah, no, I get it. I think we disagree what an extension would look like. I don't think they're giving him a 3-year deal. I think they give him a raise for this year and maybe another year guaranteed. His money's not guaranteed for this year. It's $15 million, not guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it doesn't affect the cap, because I think they want to bring in more players this year. I mean, I don't think JD's done bringing in talent for this year.
I mean,
So
the one player you mentioned, McGovern, would play for the veterans minimum, which he was on last year for, what was it, 1.8 million? If that might have been even less. Who else are they bringing in?
Yeah, I mean that's just one guy. I mean, I don't know who else they're thinking about bringing in, but I would like to bring in someone for the interior of the offensive line. So, I mean, I'm just saying that they might. I think they're already strapped for cap space, and they still. That's someone I would like to see brought in at least. But that was my only point. Thank you for the time, and enjoy the show, and keep killing it, Jake.
Jordan, appreciate the call, man. Yeah, I don't think he's going to get a multi-year deal, but I think they could find a way to give him some more money. They could add some dead years to his deal. Maybe there's some dead cap down the line, but they're dealing with a $50 million in dead cap for this year that comes off their books next year. So it is what it is. William with a $10 super chat. We're going to end the show soon here, unless people either call in or we get some more super chats to respond to. Jake Asman has 0 inexcused absences. Hey, my job is to talk Jets on the YouTube, William. Appreciate your support, my man. This is great. I really have to just assume this has got to be a troll job, right? Mark Holmes writes in, Jets are trash. Now you might be thinking, man, is Mark Holmes a Bills fan? Is he a Dolphins fan? No. Mark Holmes is a Cowboys fan. He says, Dallas owns them. Dak is the Jets' daddy. Last I checked, Dak Prescott's career record against the Jets is 1-1 with a loss to Sam Darnold and a win over Zach Wilson. Yes, Dak is definitely the Jets' daddy. You know what's sad, Mark? As bad as the Jets have been, and believe me, we Jet fans, unlike Cowboys fans, we're pretty realistic. We know how bad our franchise has been. The New York Jets have played in 4 conference championship games since the last time the Dallas Cowboys have even been in one. Now, I'd like to point out the Jets have not made the playoffs since 2010. So think about that. The mighty Cowboys have not been to a championship game, the Final Four in your respective sport, since Troy Aikman was your quarterback. I watched the Jets appear in 2 with Mark Sanchez. Isn't that funny? Man, I find it funny. I also find this funny. We'll see you in 24 hours.
Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the Sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give them another 24 hours to think about it.
It's funny, too. The Cowboys in their own city are the least successful team now. The Mavs are in the finals right now. The Rangers are the defending World Series champs. The Stars made it to the conference finals. You've had every major team in Dallas make it to at least the Final Four of their respective league besides the Cowboys. And they haven't made the Final Four since the 90s, man. Look, I really have no ill will towards the Cowboys. I don't. But that is a bad representative of that fan base. No doubt about that. Comments, questions, super chats, ladies and gentlemen, joining us on the Gustbuster hotline right now is Chiefs fan. Hello, Chiefs fan.
Yo, I was going to be on earlier, but my old Chromebook that I've been working on has been crashing lately. Since my laptop is getting upgraded that I game on.
I'm expecting high quality calls now from you.
Oh, no, I only use that laptop to game on. I only use this because I don't trust any sites on that thing. I barely go on the internet with that one.
Well, it's good to know as well.
Because everyone just wants to dip in your finger into your information, aka the cookie jar of life. But y'all need to relax, Jet fans. Let Rodgers, you can play that clip if you need to, Jake. But Rodgers says, relax. RELAX, relax. And if Rodgers is busy doing something,
RELAX.
You right there. Relax. If Rodgers is busy doing something, he's gonna do it. If the man fought tooth and nail to come back last year, but Zach Wilson fucked it. Sorry for cursing. Why do you think why do you think he's just gonna relax for a day or so? Hey, he might want to have a kid finally. You never know. He might be doing something in the bed right now. Let the man relax.
I find that unlikely, Chiefs fan, but I don't think any real Jet fans actually worried about Aaron Rodgers. The bigger story is Haason Reddick and how that gets worked out.
Oh, the Reddick thing. I've seen the Reddick thing. You guys are gonna have him back. He's no Chris Jones to hold out for that long. And
that's the example, though, right? The Chiefs ultimately made it so that he got a raise, and they couldn't franchise tag him. They ended up paying him. So, like, that's how this, I think.
Well, I don't want him to miss the first game of the year, and y'all go through what we did with the Lions last year, losing at the last play.
Yeah, I think ultimately they're going to give Haason Reddick a new deal in some capacity.
And then all this JD hate, like, make up your mind, piss of shit and get off the pot, like, for real. You either like the guy or one day you're like hot and cold. And like
the Katy Perry song, Chiefs fan?
Basically, yeah.
Sing it for us.
Nah, I'm good.
Come on.
No, I don't say. But the thing is, like, JD, yes, he has his mess ups. Yes, he had a shit draft. But like the team that he put together last year, like you were saying, and you like, I'm surprised half of us haven't had a brain aneurysm listening to Gary Six. Like a literally brain aneurysm and drop dead. Because Gary, like, you need to chill, man. One day you're like this, one day you're like this. I'm like, you got to get checked out for bipolar too, man. Like, seriously, chill.
Hey, Chiefs fan, repeat after me. You ready?
Ready.
Because you're hot, then you're cold.
Because you're hot, then you're cold.
You're yes, then you're no.
Then you're yes, then you're no.
You're in, then you're out.
Then in, you're out.
You're up, then you're down.
You're up and then you're down.
You're wrong when it's right.
You're wrong when it's right.
It's black and it's white.
It's black and it's white.
We fight, we break up.
We fight, we break up.
We kiss,
we make up. It's a good song. And the thing is, I'm like, I bet Jet fans could go 14-3 and then, sorry for cursing again, bitch nonstop how they lost the next 3 games. How they lost those 3 games. I bet, like, I'm like, I understand New York media is harder on fans and all that, but like, if you go 14-3 and then bitch about how you lost 3 games, how are you gonna bitch in the Super Bowl? Like, oh, we should be up 50 in the first quarter. Like, seriously, y'all need to chill.
I'd love to see it. You know, I'd love to have that opportunity to complain about the Super Bowl.
Like, look at my team. The way we won our Super Bowls, we came back on all 3 of them.
Yeah, that must be nice.
Yeah. Like, I have a feeling, like, even though I'm a Chiefs fan, I'm like, I've always had sympathy for the Jet fans ever since I looked into the 90s where you guys went down, and then in the 2000s when you guys went down. And I knew when Rodgers went down, it's just going to be a shit show. Like I said, the NFL gods know he's too powerful, so they tried to neuter the man. What does the man do? He comes back ready to kick the NFL god's ass like Kratos from God of War.
I'll take your word for it, Chiefs fan. Thank you. Excellent job by Chiefs fan there. What a call. What a day. For those new to the show, welcome. Hit the like button. Ladies and gentlemen, look who just made it rain. William Sprague, fresh off his trip to Belize. He's back with a $100 super chat. Thank you for all your content. Since my wife has been sick, you have made everything much more bearable for me. Please keep up the great job because I am addicted. William, you are the man. And if your wife is sick, I'm so sorry to hear this, obviously. Please, you don't need to send me a super chat for $100 if your wife's going through a tough time. So I truly appreciate it, William. You're the man. I'm glad you're on the Patreon. Hopefully I'll get to meet you and your wife at a game this year. Thank you so much, man. Everyone send their well wishes to our guy William and his wife. Unreal. Unreal generosity from the listeners of this program. Thank you, William. Means a lot. Comments, questions, super chats, couple more calls before we wrap. Robbie Sabo expected to join us around 3 p.m. Eastern or so. He's at practice right now, so we'll get the recap on Tyrod Taylor in the offense today. Dre in the office. He's up next. What's up, Dre?
What's up, my guy? How's everything going?
Hey, Dre.
I see that everybody is. Prayers, first of all. Prayers to William and his wife. I don't know what they're going through, but as somebody who's been through some tough stuff, I agree with you 100%. There's something about this show. There's something about being tuned in and talking to all of y'all that is really therapeutic and really redeeming for us. So thank you for doing what you do, Jake. From the bottom of my heart, I really much appreciate it. And sending out nothing but positive vibes to Will and his family.
Hey, Dre, do me a favor. Can you take off your headphones? You sound like you're underwater.
Got you. Give me 1 second. I think I can just get away with doing this. This might work. We still have audio.
Yes, you sound good. Now you're muted. Dre, you're killing us. Unmute your mic, Dre. Hit the mic button on the StreamYard. Dre, you call back. We'll get this figured out. Let's go to B-Mac in the meantime. B-Mac, what do you got for us? Hey, B-Mac. B-Mac's watching a different show. That's great. This is just going swimmingly. Hey, B-Mac, you let me know when you're ready. There we go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. I was just listening to which Asman there, and he's pretty making a big deal about Rodgers not being there today. This is what I'm afraid of. I think Rodgers should have just been there, just so all these media and headlines and all that stuff wouldn't happen today. But no, whatever he's got going on, he said he had to go to an event. I mean, who knows? It could be just a funeral or something like that, or maybe so. I don't know. But do you think he deserves some blame too for this and kind of making that big story? And do you think he's like?
I don't think it is a big story. I think because it's Aaron Rodgers, it will be turned into a big story, or they'll try to. And then it will blow over like everything else does in June for football topics.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, and about the Haason Reddick thing too. I think y'all will be fine. Hopefully, you know what I mean. Hopefully, y'all can get a contract extension done with him, and then he can, start for y'all week 1. But I like I said, the Rodgers thing is not a big deal. I think the media is going to make a big deal because it's Rodgers. But the Haason Reddick thing, there is some smoke. No, with the smoke, there is fire, and there is some fire to that. But I think he will be there for training camp.
I hope you are right, B-Mac. I hope you are right. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us right now is Tommy. What's up, Tommy?
Jake, my brother, how are you, my man?
What's up, Tommy? How are you?
What's up? I'm good. Hello, everybody, on this wonderful Tuesday morning. I just want to say one thing. Haason Reddick and Aaron Rodgers are literally down in the Bahamas, like somebody mentioned earlier, relaxing for a couple more days. They'll be back in no time. Believe me, there's no rush. They don't need any of these little mini camp BS bullshit. And both will be ready. Haason Reddick, like you said, will get maybe a little extension for this year. Aaron Rodgers doesn't need any of this anyway. There's no reason. Let Tyrod Taylor get the practice in. And as always, Jay, keep doing what you do, brother. Jets, Jets, baby, let's go.
Tommy, I appreciate you. I like the positivity. I don't think they're in the Bahamas, though, right? Because that would be a bad look if Rodgers, the thing he had to do was a vacation in the Bahamas. That's not what it is. It's probably some event or charity thing he's doing. Who knows? It's his life. I'm not going to speculate, but knowing how this works, I'm sure we will find out. Nate with the ultimate spin zone. What if Rodgers missed to make it more of a story than Reddick because he's a natural born leader? Now that is next level thinking. Oh, the media is going to be asking about Haason Reddick? Let me give him a story where no one's even going to mention Reddick. I'm not going to show up. Love it. Love it. Comments, questions, super chats. Going to wrap here. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Reminder to get on the Patreon if you aren't. So yesterday I had a great listener reach out. A listener named Carlos, who's based in, I think he said it was El Paso, Texas. He said, "Hey Jake, I'm going to the Jets Cardinals game. Do you know any meetups that are planned with Asmaniacs? Anything for Jet fans?" And I said, "Well, join my Patreon, because if you join the Patreon in our Discord chat, which you gain access to as one of the perks of your Patreon membership, we have a tab set up for every road game, really every game for the Jet season, but all the road games included, where you can connect with fellow listeners of this show who are going to those games. So you can plan tailgates or meetups the day before or after the game, whatever. Find out where people are sitting. So if you're a Jet fan who's going to any game on the schedule, home or away, and you want info on where to tailgate or if there's things planned, you can connect with your fellow Jet fans in the Discord chat when you go to patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. So shout out to listener Carlos, who signed up for the year, Nick Marengo, Gary Bridgewater, and Gangrene Lou. They are our most recent Patreon members. Also want to shout out listener Jackson and listener Keith, who I met at the Yankees game over the weekend. Meant to do this yesterday, but I forgot. So shout out to those two who approached me and had nice things to say about the show. Nice to meet you guys in person. All right, that does it for me. I'm back in just a couple hours. We will be joined by Robbie Sabo, fresh off the practice field, and find out who stood out, maybe who didn't, at today's Jets minicamp practice that Haason Reddick and Aaron Rodgers were both not at. Once again, that does it for me. Thanks again to everyone who tuned in to today's show. My name is Jake Asman. This has been the Jake Asman Show, and I will talk to you guys soon. JETS, 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 Jets.
I'm not doing that, okay? I just say it in my regular voice.
Okay. Nice and loud, nice and loud, nice and loud.
We love the Jets like we love Bobby Midnight. How's that?
JETS, 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 Jets. Jake Asman Show is simply the best. JETS, 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 Jets. Super Bowl of us, we will not rest. JETS, 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 Jets. Jake Asman Show is simply the best. JETS, 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 Jets. Jake Asman Show, you know he's up next, man. Start the show with a mean theme. We about to paint New York green. 2024, we winning the chip. House get trash from the hip. This is what we do as Maniacs tonight. We love the Jets like Bobby Midnight. Get make it edits, false hot toss ducks. Gary with the hot takes.
Somebody say Brock Bowers.
We can get Lowski to chant. Will Monahan to sing. Northeast nuts will make it rain. All hail the king. Canoble's future is bright. Purple belt can write. Jake is the Asmaniacs white knight. Yeah, JETS, 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 Jets. Jake Asman Show is simply the best. JETS, 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 Jets. Super Bowl of us, we will not rest. JETS, 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 Jets. Jake Asman Show is simply the best. JETS, 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 Jets. Jake Asman Show, you know he's up next, man. This verse is for the team, the one that we love. Garrett with the circus catches, Mike Williams from above. Brees Hall to the house, that's for the starters. Let's not forget we got Aaron freaking Rodgers. Best defense in the league, Atwood's top 5. Week 8, CJ better pray you make it out alive. Our cornerbacks are Sauce, Mike, C, and Reed. There's no better cornerback trio in the league. We bring the pressure with JJQ in the song. Quincy breaking necks while I'm rapping on the song, man. Caesar Superdome is destined to rain that great confetti. I don't care who we play, Detroit, Mount Spaghetti. A special shout out goes to all the listeners. Losers go to the hole in the shadow realm, takes no prisoners. Lastly, don't forget you already know what to do. Smash the like button like Bonesy sells shoes. JETS, 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 Jets. Jake Asman Show is simply the best. JETS, 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 Jets. Super Bowl of us, we will not rest. JETS, 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 Jets. Jake Asman Show is simply the best. JETS, 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 Jets. Jake Asman Show, you know he's up next, man.
Hey, wake up! You're about to experience the greatest talk show on earth. The Jake Asman Show!